I'm here with National Firearms Museum Senior Curator Phil Schreier. Phil, you've taken us some amazing places in our Curator's Corner series. One time we went down to the vault of the museum. Now we're in an undisclosed location here to look at some wonderful items that came from the home and the museum and the collection of Teddy Roosevelt. Tell us what we have here.
John, we're very fortunate, and thank you for having us on the show. Fortunate to be on the show, and we're very fortunate indeed that the National Park Service has loaned us over 100 items from Theodore Roosevelt's home, Sagamore Hill, Long Island, New York. The house is closed to the public as of December of last year. The site is still open, and we encourage you to go to Sagamore Hill to see Old Orchard, the visitor center, the home of Theodore Roosevelt Jr.
Oh.
It's now a museum, part of the visitor center complex up at Sagamore Hill. We have 108 items from the main house that was built in 1885, the home in which Theodore Jr. grew up in with his 5 brothers and sisters. One of the items that we received in the 14 guns was this Savage Model 99 lever action rifle. It's a very special gun because it belonged to Theodore Roosevelt Jr. I know we've been talking about a lot of things that belong to Theodore Roosevelt Sr., but there was a special relationship between his namesake. First off, Theodore Roosevelt himself, the president, was named after his father, Theodore Roosevelt. So technically he was Junior, but he would never let anybody refer to him as that. You never even called him Teddy in the same room. It was Theodore.
Okay.
The close family members called him Teddy, but only Theodore or Mr. President or Colonel Roosevelt, as he preferred to be called, after he left the White House. A lot of people still would call the president Mr. President.
Right.
He referred Colonel Roosevelt. His son, Theodore Jr., served in the First World War, is a colonel in the 1st Division, 26th Infantry. In World War II, he served as the Assistant Division Commander of the Big Red One, the 1st Division again in North Africa, and then in Normandy as the Assistant Division Commander for the 4th Division. In fact, he was portrayed by Henry Fonda in the movie The Longest Day, where he insists on being able to lead his own men ashore, and he gets permission to do so. In fact, the general was the only general to hit the beach on Utah Beach that morning, the first general. And when they found out that they were a mile off course, he led the men inland. He says, "Let's take the war, let's let it begin here." Kind of reminiscent of Captain Parker's words at Lexington back in 1775. Well, for those actions, for getting the men off of Utah Beach, he earned the Medal of Honor.
Wow.
And his father would receive the Medal of Honor in 2001 for the things he had done during the Spanish-American War, making father and son one of only 2 father and son teams to have earned the Medal of Honor. And this great rifle we have right here, this Savage, was used by the 14-year-old Theodore Roosevelt Jr. And his father wrote to the naturalist John Burroughs, "Ted killed his first buck this year, shooting it with his rifle at a distance of over 100 yards. It was about a week before his 14th birthday, and I suppose life in the future will rarely hold such bright moments for him." And, I'm sure the boy was proud.
Wow.
But to have been able to do the things he did, to accompany his father, to make his father proud. At one point he wrote his dad, he says, "I sure hope I haven't ever let you down." And he said, "Let me down?" He said, "Never." He said, "I don't want you ever to think that you could have ever let me down." He wrote back to him, he says, as the Japanese have a saying, "What you have done in your life has ennobled your ancestors.
How
What a
great
letter
is
to
that?
get from your dad.
How great. How can folks see these wonderful treasures here, Phil?
These are on display, hopefully for the next 3 years or longer, at the NRA's National Firearms Museum. We're open from 9:30 to 5, 7 days a week, free admission, right off the interstate of Route 66 and 50, Fairfax, Virginia. If you can't visit us on off the interstate, visit us on the internet at nramuseum.com.
Thanks, Phil.
Pleasure as always.